Breaking. King Charles has just unleashed a subtle but seismic rebuke against Keir Starmer's looming tax hikes in a speech that's sending shockwaves through Westminster. Those 15 words from the monarch have Labour insiders whispering about a constitutional storm that could topple the government before the budget even lands. With Rachel Reeves scrambling to defend her plans and Kemi Badenoch sharpening her knives, this could be the moment Labour's manifesto promises shatter for good. If you want to know how this explodes into full crisis mode, smash that subscribe button now, because the next week could rewrite Britain's political map. Here's how it all ignited. Just 2 weeks ago, on October 29th, Chancellor Rachel Reeves stood firm in her gloomy economic update, admitting the UK's finances were worse than feared after OBR forecasts slashed growth projections. She refused to rule out tax rises, hinting at billions needed to plug a £30 billion black hole left by Tory mismanagement. But fast forward to yesterday, November 13th, and the pressure cooker boiled over. In a dramatic U-turn leaked to the press, Reeves scrapped plans for outright income tax hikes, opting instead for stealth measures like freezing thresholds, pulling more workers into higher bands without touching rates. It was a desperate bid to dodge breaking Labour's sacred manifesto pledge: no rises in income tax, VAT, or national insurance for working people. Keir Starmer, facing the fire at PMQs back in July, had smugly affirmed yes when grilled by Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch on sticking to those vows. But by October's session, he dodged like a pro, mumbling about laying out plans at the budget on November 26th. Badenoch pounced. "What's changed in 4 months?" she taunted, accusing Starmer of being too weak to control spending and preferring to dip into people's pockets. Her words hit home. Polls show Labour's approval dipping to 32%, with voters smelling betrayal. Reeves, in her November 4 speech, doubled down on difficult choices, but admitted the economy's 0.1% Q3 growth and September contraction made her fiscal rules tougher to meet. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Small business owners, already reeling from last year's £40 billion tax haul, including employer NI hikes, called it a middle-class massacre. Social media erupted with hashtag tax betrayal trending, as hashtags like Starmer the Thief gained millions of views. Even Labour backbenchers fidgeted uncomfortably during Starmer's defences. His chilling words at a recent presser: "Those who have benefited most must contribute more. The era of special privileges is over." It sounded principled, but to critics like Badenoch, it was political suicide dressed as fairness. She fired back on X, Labour's too weak on welfare, blaming the OBR while raiding pensions. But nobody saw the royal hammer coming. Sources close to Buckingham Palace describe an undercurrent of concern from King Charles, who's long championed veterans and rural communities through his charities. Appalled by whispers of inheritance tax tweaks hitting family farms and pension relief caps squeezing retirees, the king, bound by neutrality, chose his moment carefully. At a veterans event in London yesterday afternoon, he delivered what seemed like a routine tribute to service. But listen closely. Those who have served this nation deserve security and dignity, not just in words, but in the policies that honour their sacrifices. Pause for effect. Then the killer line: when such obligations are overlooked, we risk eroding the fabric of our society. 15 words. That's all it took to ignite a firestorm. Palace aides, speaking anonymously to The Telegraph, revealed the speech was rewritten 3 times to maintain deniability, but insiders call it the sharpest royal nudge since Queen Elizabeth's subtle Brexit hints. Charles didn't name names, but in royal speak, it was a direct jab at Reeves's rumoured plans to cap pension tax relief and include more assets in inheritance tax, potentially forcing 30% of family farms to sell, per National Farmers Union estimates. One NFU rep told ITV, "This isn't about the rich, it's dawn-to-dusk workers feeding Britain." Enter the human heartbreak. Take Sarah Jenkins, a 58-year-old farmer from Devon. Her real story, amplified on X with over 500,000 views. Her 200-acre farm, passed down since 1890, faces a £450,000 inheritance tax bill if thresholds aren't protected. "My dad fought in World War II to keep this land," she tearfully told the BBC. Now Labour says adapt or sell. It's devastating. Or Tom Hargreaves, a 68-year-old ex-para from Manchester, who shared on Sky News how fiscal drag could cost him £1,200 yearly from his modest pension. "I bled for this country in the Falklands," he said, voice cracking. While MPs claim thousands in expenses, Labour alone racked up 1.8 million last quarter. Pensioners like me freeze. The contrast is obscene. MPs enjoy subsidised bars and second home allowances, yet Reeves pushes fair share taxes that could drag 1.5 million into higher bands by 2028, per IFS warnings. Badenoch seized on it. Starmer's blaming us, the OBR, anyone but his own weakness on welfare spending. Her shadow cabinet has been relentless, tabling motions to scrap any veteran-hitting measures. Reform UK's Nigel Farage piled on at an Essex rally. Labour attacks our heroes while ignoring the King. Reform stands for British values. Then the markets imploded, or at least trembled. Within hours of Charles's speech, the pound dipped 0.7% against the dollar, wiping $8 billion from stocks in a jittery session. FTSE shed 150 points amid tax raid fears, with Goldman Sachs trimming UK growth forecasts to 1% for 2026. A Barclays trader told Reuters, "When the King hints at policy failing the people, investors get nervous, especially with Labour's socialist leanings. It wasn't trust-level chaos, but close enough to spark capital flight whispers of £10 billion in 24 hours. Inside Westminster, panic mode activated. Labour MPs, already nervous after U-turns on welfare cuts, saw Charles's words as a green light to rebel. By evening, 18 backbenchers signed a letter demanding Reeves exempt veterans' pensions, growing to 29 by morning, the biggest stir since Corbyn's days. WhatsApp groups buzzed with Save Labour plots. One MP anonymously told The Times, "Starmer's conviction is turning to stubbornness. He's cornered." Deputy PM Angela Rayner reportedly clashed with him in a heated meeting, overheard saying, "The King's made us look heartless. Fix this or we're done." Reeves looked rattled on Good Morning Britain today, her hands steady but voice wavering as she defended fiscal responsibility. Sources say she offered to tweak plans twice, but Starmer insisted, "We fix the country, popularity be damned." Leaked Treasury memos from October 25th, obtained by the Mail, warned of polling catastrophe if farms and pensions were hit, even flagging royal sensitivities given Charles's armed forces ties. Starmer dismissed it as Tory scaremongering, per insiders. If true, it's arrogance on steroids. He knew the risks, charged ahead, and now faces a backlash that could sink his mandate. Polls tell the tale of doom. A fresh YouGov Snap survey shows Labour's lead evaporating, down to 30% approval, with Tories surging to 28% and Reform hitting 19%, their best yet. Among over 65s, support crated 15 points, rural voters dropped 10 points. Badenoch's Conservatives are orchestrating a comeback, with her on Question Time looking prime ministerial. "We warned about Labour's taxes hurting families. We were called liars. Now even the King echoes our concerns." Reform's Farage is shocking the waters, pulling disillusioned Labour voters with veteran defence rallies. This isn't just policy flop, it's a declaration of war on Britain's backbone. Not since the 2011 riots has a government seemed so disconnected. Charles's intervention, subtle but shattering, reminds us the monarchy still packs punch. Starmer, isolated in number 10, looks detached. Reeves, shell-shocked. Badenoch, triumphant. Parliament reconvenes Monday, with Tories prepping 150 questions to dismantle Labour's agenda. An emergency motion from Reform calls for scrapping farm taxes entirely. Some Labour MPs might cross the floor. If Starmer loses that vote, experts say resignation or snap election looms. With polls at 30%, an election now, suicide. But digging in risks mutiny. Britain watches a government teeter, a Prime Minister's hubris clashing with a King's quiet fury. Does Starmer survive this semi-constitutional quake, or does Charles's nudge end Labour's honeymoon? What happens when Badenoch grills him Wednesday? Will Reeves resign, or Reeves pivot harder? Drop your predictions in the comments. We read them all. This is the raw convo Britain needs. If this shocked you, share it wide. Mainstream media is downplaying, but we're not. Tomorrow, we dissect those leaked memos and what Reeves' U-turn really means. Hit subscribe, notifications on. The next 72 hours could crown a new PM or plunge us into chaos. History's unfolding. Don't miss it.